Hello, everybody. Good evening and welcome to Inner Space Family. I hope everybody having a good day or had a good day. Today's topic. What's today's topic? Anyone have an idea? Oh, forget. That's fine. That's okay. And today's topic, very interesting topic, the individual and the collective. So very, very interesting topic. And for that, we have Masana with us. And her Masana's extensive background in meditation, facilitating, coaching, and various courses and workshops. So, and she has been practicing meditation and teaching over 17 years. So, not taking much of your time. And welcome, Masana. Thank you.
Om Shanti, greetings of peace to each and every one of you. Well done for coming out on a wet evening, not letting the weather affect your decision of what's accurate for you in this moment. Welcome to all of those that are online as well, and thank you for the warm welcome. Always wonderful to be here. So yes, we have a very interesting theme again on the individual and the collective. And to look at it, I'm going to look at it from duality, from both what positive effect can I as an individual have on the collective. And each of you think for a moment, what does the collective mean for you? Collective may mean the family you were born into, the family you may have co-created, the culture, the race, the gender, whichever clan that you ascribe to. Is it the whole of the society or the whole of humanity? For me, when I speak about the collective, I'm going to hold that unlimited vision of the whole of humanity. And for the individual, it will be focusing on I, the soul, the one that is eternal, having a temporary physical experience in this physical body, which is the costume. The first costume, yes, we all dress appropriate to the role that we are playing at any moment in life. However, the body is the first costume. So if that's new for you, begin to experiment. And you may have heard this beautiful quote that the physical eyes are the windows to the soul. So start to tune in with your true essence, your true identity as a tiny spark of light, eternal, sitting in the center of the forehead, looking out through the two physical eyes, the windows, and I at this time am speaking through the mouth, and each of you are listening with the two physical ears. And I'm going to also look at what can block me and block the pure energy and all of the amazing qualities and virtues and spiritual power that each of us as an eternal soul have, that can then affect the collective. So let's first of all look at what each of us have and how to access our true spiritual qualities. So unconditional love that also encompasses compassion, kindness, generosity, caring, sharing. Each and every one of us have those qualities. And if you observe small children, and we're blessed we have a little one in the audience with us tonight, And if you observe them, or when they're in the nursery school, they naturally exhibit those qualities. They don't think, let me be nice to the other little boy or girl. It naturally flows from them. And yet, as each of us grow in this world and become influenced by possibly negative opinions, negative attitude, negative behavior, we can get trapped in losing that heightened awareness of that generosity, eternal peace, stillness, calm, accessing inner silence. It's only when I am silent within the conscious mind of I, the soul, that I can access eternal wisdom, eternal truth. And each of you will know when you are in the present of truth. For me, it's like I get goosebumps. And I know that's a signal from God, from the divine, that yes, either what is emanating from deep within this soul or something I'm hearing from another person, I know they are speaking their truth in that moment. So check for yourself, what is the signal that you receive internally when you know that you are accessing inner wisdom, eternal truth? Purity. Purity, I observe, is not often spoken about out there in the world, yet on the spiritual path and in using Raja Yoga, meditation, and the philosophy, then purity is essential. So again, check within. What does purity mean for you? And for me, it is free from any impurity, any negative thought, any negative attitude, behavior, any fear that blocks me from shining the light of who I truly am. And also happiness and joy. Reflect on, when does happiness and joy flow from within, like bubbling up from within the heart of I, the soul. And that natural exuberance, that natural feeling of appreciation, gratitude, a feeling of lightness. So again, be present to, is that flowing within you at this time? Or as the gentle, compassionate observer of I, the soul, mind, and the heart of I, the soul. What is blocking? Is it waste thoughts, negative thoughts? Is it something from the past that keeps intruding on this present moment? The present is the now, is the gift. Do I see this moment as a gift, that I actually can use this moment first for the greater good of self, and then for the greater good of others? Let's for a moment look at what are some of the main blocks that block this light, this eternal truth, these spiritual qualities. And there are 5 main ones that you may be familiar with. And I find the acronym ALGI is helpful for spelling it going down. A for anger, L for lust and impure desires. And only I can decide which are impure desires that block me. And for each of you, begin to reflect on what blocks my flow, your energy. And then G for greed, A for attachment. Attachment to material things. So am I so possessive of whatever I own materially that the idea of sharing with those I trust goes out the window? Or am I someone who has that ability to cooperate and share where there is a need? And then at another level, am I attached to other people's attitude, opinion, behavior? Do I allow their negative thought or criticism or judgment to wound me emotionally? Or am I staying within those spiritual qualities, eternal, and rising above other people's pain and sorrow and not allowing it to affect? That takes a lot of courage, a lot of patience, a lot of determination, and really tuning in to the higher vibration directly. And then the attachments to old negative false beliefs. So make a note of some of these. Some of the most common ones are, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm not valuable, everybody is better than me, I'll never succeed. There are many others. However, those are some of the common ones that us human beings have got trapped in. They're false. And yet, if as a small child, any of those false negative beliefs were told to me repeatedly, either by the caregiver, the parent, the grandparent, an older sibling, a teacher at school, then that is in the background. That colors my belief of myself and can override at times the truth of who I really am as a light, as a loving soul, peaceful soul, living in this physical body, as a human being. And the last one is the E, the ego. And ego, on a continuum, on one end, is I am superior to everybody else on the planet. Equally, on the other end of the continuum, I am inferior to everybody else on the planet. Equally false. So where do I at times get trapped in that illusion? And if I observe social media, so much of social media is constantly telling me, and certainly through advertisement, that I'm not good, I'm not valuable, I'm not beautiful. And beauty is the inner beauty. Every soul is beautiful. The external old world of divide and rule and exploitation and domination that has sought to create the illusion that is pandemic, epic, that humanity feels a minority are better than a majority, be it in race, culture, gender, age, class, income, all of it. Because each of us is a shining light and is awesome. So again, see, where do I get trapped in that illusion that has become pandemic over a long period of. So the individual, let's look at the collective. And as I said, it can be that you can look at it from the perspective of the micro within a family, within household, in a community, at the workplace, nation, or the whole of humanity. And one of the phrases that resonated with me is Ubuntu. And this is powerful from the Zulu language in South Africa, one of the many tribes in South Africa. And when I was blessed to travel around a number of times this amazing country, and I remember asking a young man who was a youth worker who worked in the community and supported people who had been abused mentally, physically, emotionally. And he would be on call day and night. And I said, what does Ubuntu mean? And he smiled at me. He said, Masana, there aren't really English words that can describe it. I said, well, give me a feel for it. Right. He said, well, I am a person through you, and you are a person through me. And what I learned and discovered, it's more that heart to heart, that recognition that there is so much more to the person than the external packaging. And it really links in with what I was saying before about eternal spiritual quality. When I recognize that I have all these spiritual qualities within the heart and mind of either soul, and then see past the external packaging of the other or others, then I see their light. And although I cannot physically see the light in the forehead, I can start to tune into the vibration. And so experiment with this as well. That when I see the collective as valuable as who I am rediscovering, reclaiming I am, then it's a totally different vision I have of myself and of everyone else. And I am choosing to learn to move beyond the blame game. I suggest in the old world language, the old world relationship is a game of blame, attack, judgment, criticism. And the biggest critic on the planet can first be of self, the inner critic, and then starting to point the finger out at others. So ask yourself, where have I been trapped in that false belief system that I'm not good, that nothing good happens to me, or always blaming myself for mistakes? And then where do I then cascade that out to others? However, when I'm in that place of inner joy, inner contentment, inner self-respect, then my vision changes from the way that I look out through these physical eyes to the world. So in a moment, I can shift from the darkness, from the fear, back into the light, which means I'm transcending, which is a higher consciousness. And higher consciousness means I am moving beyond what I have been taught, who I am as a human doing. Be mindful of the word human doing. So often. Okay. Apparently the mic needs to be changed, so let's have a 2-minute meditation. few moments. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out tension. Take your attention up to the center of the forehead. Tune into your true identity as a tiny point of light, like a tiny star, shining peace and love, kindness, contentment, honesty, and truth. And gently, gently come back to the present moment. Every now and then check that you are holding that higher consciousness of your true identity, so that it keeps you beyond the old ways of thinking, acting, and doing. So let's continue on about the collective. Maybe I'm going to think of a couple of examples. One of the many wonderful, wise quotes that we have at the Brahma Kumaris, World Spiritual University. As I change, then my vision of the world changes. And this very much falls in line with what we're looking at tonight. And this is the time where each of you are an example of it, be you here present physically or online, that you are not only searching for who you truly are, you are taking conscious steps to step back into your original qualities. You're stepping into and tapping into eternal wisdom, eternal truth. And by doing that, then you are becoming that gentle, compassionate, loving, detached observer of self. And imagine that, like an eagle that rises and soars way up in the sky, and then can have a 360-degree vision of down below. For a moment, experiment with that. See yourself rising beyond the here and now, rising beyond whichever costume you're wearing, becoming free and light, and yet very present in this moment, yet detached from the old ways of thinking, doing, and acting. But this is the confluence age. This is the age of making the impossible possible, first in your own life, and then being a sample, an example, with this raised awareness, raised consciousness of being more than what the old world says we ought, should, could be. Let's look at some examples of how an individual with that higher consciousness can create vibrationally a different awareness that can affect family, community, nation, planet. And a couple of names that come to mind who were great souls one was Nelson Mandela, South Africa, who after nearly 30 years of incarceration, mainly in silence, locked away from others, that he came out with an extraordinary higher vibration, and that love and compassion and forgiveness flowed from him, that others, even in the opposition parties, could feel it. And by his approach to the whole of South Africa, seeing that whole vision of Ubuntu, that every tribe in South Africa had a right to self-expression and to live in harmony, abated what could have been a bloodbath in that first free election. Think of someone like Gandhi, who believed in non-violence on every level, and even now is still quoted. And what does that mean for me to be non-violent in my thought, in my feeling, in my action, in my attitude, to everything that I experience in life? There are many other amazing souls that have had an impact on the whole of humanity and are still spoken about and given as examples. However, think about in your own personal life. Is there somebody in your life that you have been touched on a personal level, that you still hold dear their attitude, their behavior, that's had a positive influence on you and others? Maybe it was a teacher. Maybe it was a member of the family. So think for a moment about how, by changing my negative thoughts when I get trapped in fear, that I can actually create a different vibration that flows out. And have you ever experimented with maybe stepping onto a bus or on a train, or standing in a queue, maybe at the bank or at the supermarket, and being alert, aware, and attentive, and moving from possibly impatient, intolerance, because either the train is late or the cashier is slow for whatever reason, and these negative thoughts are coming up, and choosing to check and change and tap into the source of the ocean of unlimited peace and patience and tolerance, or the unlimited ocean of unconditional love and compassion. And when staying in that higher vibration, have you noticed how the atmosphere around you changes, and smiles start to come? And because you are approachable and in your higher self-respect, maybe a little light conversation starts with people in the queue in front of you and behind you, or somebody else becomes more considerate of the child that is crying, and instead of having the attitude, why doesn't that parent stop the child crying? It's more, what can I do to entertain this little? And so when I reach out through my thought, my behavior changes, my attitude changes, and it has that ripple effect. Think of standing by a lake and you drop a pebble into the lake. What happens? The water ripples from that small circle and then ripples out. And so think of it as touch one, touch another. And that powerful thought you have starts to connect with another soul and another soul and another soul. And this is how we change the world. We change it first by choosing to change. And as I keep that discipline and that awareness, being alert, aware, attentive, then I create magic first in my own life. And then I bring that fragrance, that higher spiritual fragrance, back into the world. And so that word never, for me, does not exist on this higher vibration. And the word can't doesn't exist. It's yes, I can. And when I am giving myself regular time, early morning, before, if I live in a household, before the household gets up, I am giving myself sacred time to replenish, regenerate, to become stronger from inside out. By tuning in with myself, listening to the heart, who I am, listening if there's some pain or sorrow, then I choose to listen. I choose to go under the sorrow, to listen. What is that block? Is it some old false belief that no longer serves me well? Or was it something somebody said yesterday that I took sorrow for? And that's an indication to tune in to God, the divine, supreme soul, and take whatever I need unlimited to start to heal the heart of my soul. And if I do that every morning, and then in the evening make time again for some quiet, sacred time to listen to myself, to let go, to forgive, to correct whatever mistakes I may have made during the day, and also be open to the little moments of magic that maybe happened during the day. Maybe it was someone else who was considerate to me, some simple act of kindness, opening the door when my hands were full of shopping, or smiling and saying good morning, how are you today? So it's not only I, the soul, that can radiate out jewels of generosity, kindness, and compassion. It may be that I am the receiver of somebody else who is tuning in and sending out those gifts. So when more and more of us are tuning in to this higher collective, higher consciousness, then that is what is radiating back into the world. And at this time, yes, there's a lot of darkness, there's a lot of shadow, there's a lot of fear. And I suggest that the greatest virus that is affecting humanity at this time, yes, there's COVID and SARS and meningitis, etc. They're all biological. They will come and go. What really is affecting the hearts and minds of souls, I suggest, is the fear. And the acronym for fear, spell it going down. F, false. E, evident. A, appearing. And the R, real, false evidence. Appearing real. And that was a conundrum for a while for this one, till I realized, means virtual reality. So check for yourself when you feel that stuck energy radiating through the body that causes you to either go into old learnt behavior of fight, flight, or freeze when experiencing a perceived or real threat. Most are perceived, most are when the mind is clicking back into the old false negative belief. Check it out. Most fears, by the end of the day, you've been stressed, anxious, worried. Have they actually materialized those fears? Most of the time, they have not. And yet, by the end of the day, the mind and the body is exhausted. So this is why it's so important to be a gentle, compassionate observer of self and check and change. If it's virtual reality, let it go and come back into the truth, eternal truth. So this time on the planet is the dawn of bringing in eternal truth, wisdom, compassion, purity of thoughts, intentions, action. It's learning how to be a magician first in your own life and then create that energy and vibration that others can begin to wake up to how amazing and awesome each one is. And that might be challenging if you are at this time witnessing some of the abhorrent atrocities that are taking place on the planet. And yet behind the mask of those that have been influenced under the fear and where the violence is, behind that mask, under that illusion of believing that violence is the way to create freedom. False, yes? Be it wars, be it damaging families or external power games in the workplace or what I describe as polytrick. It's all illusion. It's not true. However, if people collectively buy into that false virus fear, then the madness continues. Fortunate souls like yourself, myself, and others that are waking up to the dawn that is coming, that we are so much more than the old stories. And you only need critical mass. You only need tipping point for the shift to take place. So whenever you look back at her story of humanity, and you see the times where the wars and the conflicts have escalated. Those cycles, then they move. And then there has to be the forgiveness, the rebuilding, the rehealing, the regenerating. So now on planet Earth, this is the greatest time, the greatest possibility for collective healing, regeneration, sustenance, and moving to a higher consciousness that will benefit both each of us as an individual and collective. And the place to start is right where I am now. And have the courage to step into your truth. Have the courage to, at times, speak your truth, even if it goes against culture, the race, the tribe, gender that you have been raised in. Stand in the light. Be a light. Be a lighthouse. The example of a lighthouse is to be powerful with might and light. And so play with any of these metaphors, symbols, until you find a rhythm that gives you the opposite of fight, flight, or freeze, and you go into the flow. So for a moment, sense, what does the flow mean for you? How do you feel inside when you are in the flow of your own integrity, your own inner truth, your own authenticity? You've been all listening to me for quite a while, and I would appreciate if there are questions or aha moments or anything that it's triggered within you that you would like to share. And there's a mic it's needed. You could put your hand up. Oh, wonderful. Our youngest person here. Yes. Would you like to say something? Yes. Mic is coming to you. No?
Don't
a
be
bit
shy.
now.
Don't be shy.
Do you want to tell us your name? You can tell us how old you are. Okay.
Anyone else?
Question? Do you agree with anything that I've shared? Disagree? It's really valuable when we can dialogue together, yes?
You hear me?
Yes?
I just said it's very agreeable and it all sounds very wonderful. And I suppose it's a journey. Might take some time.
What might take some
time? Get through all of it, actually learn how to sit with yourself, sit with yourself. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's worth the while. Thank you.
Thank you. It definitely is. And it's step by step. It's like a small child. If any of us can think back to when we were small, or when you watch a little baby that's taking the first steps, standing up, and takes the first steps, and that baby then falls down again. And then what does that baby do? Instead of crying, that baby pulls itself up again and takes another step, drops down again, and then maybe pulls up and takes 2 steps. So that determination, spiritual power, that belief that, yes, nobody needs to tell a baby that they are going to be able, as long as their physical organs are in balance, gradually they will learn to pull themselves up, to step, to walk, to run, to jump, to skip. So can I apply that in my own life as I am now choosing, each of us, to navigate a spiritual path that we haven't been taught in school and often haven't been taught at home or in the world. And yet we are blessed at this time to tap into Supreme Soul, Unlimited. So now is the time to keep charging up. Any other people, thoughts, anything that it triggers for you of how possible is it to make a difference in the world, or how you are making a difference in the world, wherever you are. Or a question that's coming up, maybe. Yes, but some. Yes.
Hi. Can you talk more about reacting, the false evidence appearing real, and what steps you take to kind of get over and say if you're doing like public speaking or you have causes fear, is there anything that you do?
Okay, wonderful. First thing is to recognize that I am maybe experiencing fear. And for each of us, it maybe will come with different sensations in the body. And each of us will have a particular vulnerable part of the body where first I'll experience the stress. So each of you tune in right now. For me, it's the stomach. And if the stomach contracts, then you know what will happen. Some it will be the heart, the palpitations. Some it will be the breathing will get accelerated. Some it will be the migraine, the headache, the neck ache, back. So become aware of what I call that physical barometer that tells me if I, the soul, hasn't tuned in quick enough, that something is out of it. So when the body is tense, then to breathe. Learn how to slowly inhale and exhale. So bring in the breathing back into balance will help. That self-talk. So instead of being the inner critic, I become the inner coach, best friend. I can talk to myself and say, Masana, you're feeling a little anxious about giving the talk tomorrow. However, you know you have prepared and you know that whoever is coming will be coming so that they can learn something. So they're not coming to judge you. They're coming to experience something. All I need is make sure that I am staying with my integrity, authenticity, that I am prepared, and that I do some relaxation before I go into breathing, meditation, some inner coaching. And then I can bring myself back into balance. And the false evidence appearing real, then at times I may get triggered because maybe it's something someone in the audience says that triggers one of my old false negative beliefs. Maybe I'm feeling, oh, I'm being criticized. So again, I need to remind myself, everybody has a right to their own opinion. And all I can do is share mine and be open to other people. So those are some suggestions. Anybody else? Can anyone give some examples how they're seeing that changes are happening in people's attitude and behavior? I think there's somebody over here with Mike.
Well, I believe that life is a journey. We go from A to B, and we go through learning process as well at the same time.
So life is a journey and we learn from it, yes? And for
The more we open up, more we feel better about ourselves.
yes, more we open up, learn about ourselves.
What about communication?
Would you like to say a bit more about communication?
Where we have iPhone, smartphone, why is it the world is still in crisis? All this technology.
So technology has both a positive and a negative side to it, yes? And when I discern, which is a spiritual power, to use technology only for positive, uplifting communication, and also choose to access the technology and share it with others from a positive attitude, then that again is vibrating out more positive energy. However, each of us need to be aware of, where am I addicted to social media that takes my attention away from my inner growth, as you said, and my inner learning and powering up. So again, I need to be alert, aware, and attentive. Communication, the word communication has the word communion in it, sacred exchange. Do I see that when I come into sound and connection with another or others, that it's a sacred gift I am choosing to share, and that if it isn't of that higher vibration, can I pause internally and recalibrate and choose a different thought that will then vibrate out at a very different higher frequency. Also within communication is the word union. So when I, the soul, connects direct with Supreme Soul, and from that vibration then connect with souls embodied, then I'm creating a very different world. And each of us have that ability to, when we collectively tune into that higher pure vibration, we are bringing heaven back on earth. That's reality. Any last question? Sharing? Are you ready to speak? Oh, you are. I think we need the mic. Wonderful. Would you like to say your name? Or share what you would like to share.
The same I told my mate.
Maybe tell your mummy and then she can share for you. Can you speak into the mic? How old is your daughter?
She's 4.
4, and her
Yeah.
name?
Her name is Zia Eve.
And she seems very engaged. You got a sense of what she would like to share, or something you would like to share as a mother?
Well, I've been cooking with her. She knows she always. So yeah, she loves
Wonderful. Well, we're really honored to have you. Thank you. So, anybody else? Would you like to share something back there? Oh, be nice to hear from everybody.
Don't be shy.
We're family, yes? That's the beauty of really transcending and seeing us as part of the world family. And I had a lovely friend, Belizean friend. I say had, her soul has moved on. However, she would say, Masana, a stranger is only someone you haven't met yet. They're a friend you have not met yet. And so again, it's when I change my belief system, when I change my attitude, and be open with curiosity, like a small child. What is this new person? What can they share with me that can enhance my awareness and create more bridges of connection rather than the old false walls that separate us, old world games of separation and division. Let me keep transcending and seeing what connects us. That's where the beauty is. So let's have a few minutes of reflection. And again, I invite you to sit comfortably yet alert, aware and attentive. And take a few deep cleansing breaths. Breathe in slowly. Imagine you're breathing from your feet, through your leg, your chest, to the top of your head. Allow the breath to cascade up over your head and down your back. Breathe in peace. Breathe out peacelessness. Breathe in compassion. Breathe out tension. Take your attention away from the physical body. Connect in the center of the forehead. Tune into the tiny light, eternal, in the center of the forehead. I, the soul, tiny point of light, like a little star. Be aware that you are eternal peace, unconditional love, happiness and joy, the ability to create pure thoughts, pure feelings, and pure intention. Access to eternal wisdom, eternal truth. Take your attention higher and higher. Go beyond this physical world, a world that is full of duality. Take your attention higher and higher. Connect in the world of golden red light. Total silence, stillness, soul world. Experience vibration and waves of compassion, gentleness, love, and peace flowing towards you, flowing within the heart, by the soul, your Supreme Father, Supreme Mother. Fill up with all these unlimited qualities. And then gently, gently, knowing you can connect in the soul world whenever you choose. Gently bring these gifts in the heart and mind of either soul back into the physical body, back into this room. And for a moment, send out the gift, pure gift, peace, compassion, and kindness. Send that vibration out into the world. Touch the hearts and minds of every soul in the body on planet. Om Shanti. I'm a peaceful soul.
Thank you, Masana, for the wonderful. Our next week, same time, same place, and the topic is change tension into attention. Product of the week is living as art, and also recommend one more book what Shana has shared today, exploring spiritual greatness, how to change yourself and the world by that. You can browse it out. And the Brent Multi-Faith Forum, they have organized a peace walk and tree planting, which is this Sunday. And the timing for that is 1 o'clock to 3:30, and it starts from Inner Space Family from here at 1 o'clock, and going to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places, and the last one is Mount Pleasant Open Place. That's where it's going to finish. The leaflet is available on the page itself. And if you would like to join, at 1 o'clock. Right, so once again, thanks for